Coming up on Varsity Roundup, we will preview some big games in both volleyball and baseball, plus take a look at the top 10 rankings. Then, joining us in studio, the new head football coach at Crespi, Troy Thomas. Hello, friends. My name is Danny Page. We're proud to welcome you this week and every week to the new SoCal 101 HD.
Danny Page, he's with Gary McKnight. Danny?
Business as usual with Gary McKnight. Stanley Johnson really looks to be rising to the occasion against Aaron Gordon, doesn't he?
Yeah, they're both great players.
How about our live game Friday right here on SoCal 101 HD? The Venice Gondoliers traveled to, oh yes, Jackie Robinson Stadium to take on the Dorsey Dons. The season is almost here. The off-season, the focus wasn't necessarily on what happened on the field, off the field issues.
Long Beach Poly gets so much credit for using so many different players, for cycling players in and out. But in a game like this, sometimes that might not allow their bigger players to get started into their rhythm. Not everyone can get going.
But let's talk about El Rancho's style. I mean, you guys play this open, flowing brand of football, and it really models after your favorite team, doesn't it, in FC Barcelona?
Yeah, I think we emulate Barcelona.
We are here on the campus of Oaks Christian School. We talked about him in the opening segment of the show. There's so many incredible players in Southern California, but one quarterback, at least to us, seems to stand above the rest. He does literally, I think, at about 6'6", and figuratively as well. He is Brandon Dawkins. Brandon, it's great to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
From our state's capital, Sacramento, this is CIF Championship Game Day. We conclude our coverage from the Sleep Train Arena here in Sacktown. 12 champions crowned on an unforgettable weekend of basketball. Yes, CIF Championship Game Day is the show. My name is Danny Page. The magic of modern day yet again as Gary McKnight wins his 10th championship in 31 years as head coach at Modern Day. And as I bring in Robert Bronstein and Jack Cronin, he had a lot of help, didn't he, from his players out there tonight, specifically Stanley Johnson. He was magnificent.
Rarely do high school track stars draw as much attention as Notre Dame's Khalfani Muhammad. But all eyes are on him this weekend as he looks to defend 3 state sprinting championships from a year ago. Let's take a quick jog over to the couch to sit down with our friend Khalfani Muhammad. Looking forward to this weekend. It should be pretty incredible, shouldn't it? There's a lot of great underrated players out there. I feel this year I've seen so many awesome sophomore quarterbacks. I think that quarterback class of 2016 it would be, actually. We're getting ahead of ourselves. It's really an incredible quarterback class. We'll see a lot of these sophomores coming out and starring. Let's move on to our final topic. It's all about home field advantage, isn't it, these days? So let me ask, which school has the greatest edge playing at home, Randy?
Long Beach Poly gets so much credit for using so many different players, for cycling players in and out. But in a game like this, sometimes that might not allow their bigger players to get started into their rhythm. Not everyone can get going. Let's take a look at the second half highlights. Would you agree, fellas, it was difficult for any of these 13 Long Beach Poly players to really start to feel it?
And part of it, too, I think, Eric, is not just what they did on the field, as Randy was alluding to, but Kiki Vanderway. I mean, we're talking about a GM and a big-time exec. Look at the Golden Boy, even, in the career he's had to follow. Talk about that and maybe how, this education was a springboard for them to that next level.
There's such great role models.
I think a lot of players at the stage you were in their career 2 years ago might have given up high school soccer, would have concentrated on academy, maybe the ODP Olympic Development Program, but you elected to stay and continue to play high school. Talk to me about why.
Well, going into my senior year, I wanted to stay loyal.
One thing I've recognized about you from last year to this year is you were so athletic last year. We saw that. But you had your shot tonight, and you have all year. Talk about how you've worked in the gym to improve that part of your game. You're now a complete player because of that, I think.
Yeah, not just running so many plays, Eric, but running so many pass plays, so the clock stops in those scenarios, obviously, on an incomplete pass. But what about the idea that these young men that are such incredible athletes, they want to play on offense? The star athletes are all part of things offensively. I mean, there are so few players around Southern California that are true stars that just play defense. We kick off the championship review with what else? The biggest football game of the season, the Open Division State Bowl game between SoCal powerhouse Centennial and dominant De La Salle from NorCal. The Huskies take the field hungry for a state title. De La Salle looking for a 4th consecutive state crown. De La Salle's Tio Pepe Vitale scores twice on 2-yard runs,
in the first quarter, breaks the school's single-season rushing record 14-0 at that point, and now Vitale showing the breakaway speed right through the secondary, and it's a 45-yard touchdown, and it's 21-0. Towards the end of the half, the Huskies get on the board, though, from inside 2 yards. Austin Rankin takes it in. It's 28-7, but the Huskies compose before the start of the second half, and Robert Weber pulls them back in the game, finding Chase Crevichet, a 45-yard score, and the Huskies are within 2 scores. But this is De La Salle. They obviously answer back. A 40-yard touchdown to Austin Lone Star through the air, 35-14 at this point. Let's head to the final frame. The Huskies down 21, trying to find a way back into this one. From inside the 10, Weber finds Barry Ware. It's 42-28. But the Spartans, another immediate response. This time, Vitale, 48-28. He finishes with 145 yards and 4 touchdowns on 25 carries. Legendary De La Salle coach Bob Ladouceur, unclear this might be his last game. 399th career win. That is their 4th championship at the state level, avenging a previous defeat to Centennial. And the Sarah Cavaliers in their fiery red fired up to face Oakdale, who's making their first ever trip to the Home Depot Center. Marcus Rogers on the opening drive bounces off a tackle, turns on the Jets, and takes this one all the way 27 yards for the score. Sarah leading early. The following drive, it's Rogers again, this time stretching the play and going 57 yards for the score. Oakdale hasn't even blinked, and they're down 14-0. Rogers had 3 touchdown runs in the game. Let's move to the second quarter. Jalen Green to Adoree Jackson, wide open from 50 yards out. And can we cue the Adoree Jackson highlight reel, please? Under a minute till halftime. Check out this catch and run from Jackson. Makes a couple men miss on the right side, swings his way to the middle of the field, and look at him diving.
That's amazing.
What an incredible finish. Looks like something we would have seen in London. As we move on to the third quarter, here's Jackson back to punt. He says, you know what? I got this. We don't need to kick the ball. Simple run, straight up the middle, bursts it out to the left-hand side. 77 yards for the score. How do you stop that?
He's ridiculous.
Unbelievable stuff from the junior, mind you, Adoree Jackson. Less than a minute left in the third. Oakdale gets on the board here. Nick Rue on a 3-yard touchdown run. They follow it up with a 2-pointer. Oakdale trails 42-8. Into the fourth, Oakdale's Marcus Northcutt. A 2-yard touchdown run, but it's too little, too late. Sarah claims a state championship 42-15, their second in 4 years.
Let's take a look at the 5 games earlier on today. Champions crowned throughout the day, starting with the Division IV girls game, and yet again in a state setting, Sarah smiles.
Their first ever state championship, this time in girls basketball. And congratulations to Sierra Thompson, DeAndrea Toller, and the rest of the great Sarah Gardena Cavaliers on their first state championship in school history.
A 62-60 hard-fought win over Salesian in the boys Division IV game. Pacific Hills with 3 Division I stars. They just took their game to new heights today.
Yep, and it was the 3 guys, Taylor, Wright, and Jackson, especially Marcus Jackson with 23 points, but all 3 of them in double figures, and we got to learn that Marcus wants to be a pharmacist, so it all worked out well.
The pharmacist is headed to Rice, a 58-52 win for Pacific Hills. On to the D2 girls game, Linwood back in a championship setting for the first time in 10 years, and the Wood made it count.
Oh man, great all-around game for Linwood today. First championship in 10 years, their 4th overall. Priscilla Lopez, Jasmine Johnson, Nigella Johnson, Amber Blockman, and Alize Lofton. Congratulations to the entire Linwood squad on a well-fought, low-scoring 39-26 win.
Yeah, great defensive performance from Linwood. How about the Beach Boys from Redondo Union? They were 10-17 a year ago, and somehow in 2013 they are Division II state champions. Look at that jam.
Oh man, that was the dunk that sealed the win. Jeremiah Headley, the sophomore, off the bench, and the entire Redondo Union school district coming up here to celebrate a 54-47 win.
Reggie Morris Jr. is pumped. The Open Division Championship game for the ladies. Just a really remarkable team effort from O'Dowd. They were incredible today.
Yep, the Dragons proving that they are the best girls basketball team in the state. Casey Waters did a great job. 14 points, 20 rebounds. We heard from Casey after the game. She's going to Cal. BOD, the Dragons doing it.